there are only a handful of truly meaningful moments in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Battle of New York caused the Avengers to assemble. The discovery of the Power Stone led to the first gathering of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And the Hand's ongoing quest for immortality caused the last living member of the Chase to deploy, the Defenders. Greetings, fanboys and fangirls. I'm ERod and I'm the Blockbuster Buster, and it's finally here. The day we've all been waiting for since Daredevil kicked off the Marvel Netflix universe. The day when the devil of Hell's Kitchen, the smartass detective, the hero for hire, and the living weapon joined forces to save New York City as the Defenders. And it was glorious! Almost as glorious as a well-choreographed hallway fight, but I'm getting ahead of myself. As per usual, there will be spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen the superb streaming series, you might want to stop the video here. You've been warned. Now, before we talk about the show itself, let's go back in time and take a look at comic book history. The original Defenders team from the comics was actually a much different team. The OG Defenders was a team of very powerful heroes with a reputation of being loners, like Doctor Strange, Namor, Silver Surfer, and the Hulk. The Defenders' purpose was to covertly deal with huge otherworldly threats that your standard heroes would never be able to handle. Often, the team would save the world or the whole of reality without anyone knowing, or even receiving any kind of recognition. And after every mission, the heroes would go their separate ways, and would only see each other again during the next earth-shattering event. The team featured a rotating roster, and while a few of the heroes featured in the Netflix series did work with the team at some point or another, they were never the only 4 exclusive members, unless you count the tie-in comic book series that solely exists for the purpose of promoting the show. But I don't count that, and neither should you. In fact, Thor Ragnarok, which will feature the Hulk, Doctor Strange, and Valkyrie, more closely resembles the original Defenders comic. But that's another story. So why were the street-level heroes of the Marvel Cinematic Universe named after this very specific team? Personally, I think that it's because these are the heroes from this franchise who generally deal with all the threats that go under the Avengers' radar, very much in the same manner as their comic book namesake. So yeah, they might not be saving the planet from weird interdimensional threats, but the fact of the matter is that the MCU has a Sorcerer Supreme for that.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
And to paraphrase a brilliant parapsychologist, sometimes shit happens. The Avengers are not around, somebody has to deal with it, and who you gonna call?
You told me a week ago that I'd be here with you two, about to blow up some building and fight ninjas to save New York.
The plot. The ancient crime syndicate known as the Hand has found the key to prolong their immortality. Unfortunately, it's located under New York, and they have no problem destroying the entire city to get it, which leaves the street-level heroes of the MCU standing between them and the destruction of the city that they are sworn to protect.
Danny, light it up. Now.
Cast and characters. This is the one area where the quality of the show wavered a bit. While the actors in the show were unquestionably good, their characters range from great to regular to completely pointless. Let's start talking about them with the supporting characters. While it might have been cool to see the majority of the Defenders' trusty sidekicks make an appearance, most of them were simply there to show that each of the Defenders had something to lose. And that was pretty much it. Most of them did very little else, which is especially disappointing since in the individual series we see that they are capable of so much more, especially Claire Temple, who's the only supporting player who appeared in all 4 shows. But hey, at least she tried to help, and they didn't kill her off, as most fans believed that she was gonna be the Coulson of this show. So thank God that Nurse Claire Temple lived to patch up the Defenders another day. With that said, I am glad that some of the sidekicks weren't around.
Where is Ward?
On a business trip himself. Perhaps we could schedule something for next month?
Oh no, he's not gonna be in the show? What a shame. But the most painful sidekicks to watch were Colleen Wing and Misty Knight, who consistently seemed to be punished for trying to help. Ouch! But hey, all signs point to Misty getting her bionic arm from the comics and their inevitable team-up. So I'm not complaining. However, the area in which I feel this show suffered the most was with the villains. While none of the villains were terrible, they certainly lacked the complexity and depth of characters like Kingpin, Kilgrave, and Mariah Dillard. While Sigourney Weaver still did an excellent job playing Alexandra, both asserting her authority as well as coming off as a legitimate threat, unfortunately, in the end, the character was nothing but build-up and no payoff. Throughout the series, we're repeatedly teased that Alexandra is a badass. For example, the rest of the figures of the Hand fear her. She already killed the previous Iron Fist. She is formidable enough to fend off Elektra, and she can sneak into the Royal Dragon without Matt Murdock and Stick detecting her. So throughout the course of the series, you're waiting for that moment when she will cut loose and demonstrate just how badass she can be, maybe even fight off all 4 of the heroes all at once. But sadly, that moment never comes. And then, on top of all that, we never see her interact with all 4 of the Defenders. She has one great scene with Iron Fist in which she is in no way intimidated by the living weapon crafted by Kung Lun to defeat her. Then, she has a very brief exchange with Luke Cage, and that's it. She has no interactions with Daredevil or Jessica Jones. Now, if this was a movie, I would understand, as their time would be limited. But this was an 8-part series. Surely they could have staged a scene between the main villain and the main heroes. But like everything else having to do with Alexandra, it is heavily teased, but ultimately they fail to deliver.
You came alone to face me? Baka.
The true saving grace of the antagonist in this show was Elektra, played by Elodie Young. Originally resurrected by the Hand and turned into their living weapon, aka the Black Sky, in order to counteract the Iron Fist and the Chaste, Elektra perfectly embodies the main theme of this series, which is that of identity crisis. Alexandra brings her back to be a tool for the Hand, but deep down, Elektra knows that she is meant to be far more than that. This, of course, is highlighted every time she stops to look at the side. It's only a matter of time before she realizes that she is far more powerful than all 5 fingers of the Hand put together. Elektra is a force of nature. No one tells her what to do. So as far as I'm concerned, her takeover was inevitable.
You work for me now. Any questions?
And out of the villains, she seemed to be the only one who challenged all of the Defenders, especially Daredevil, who finds himself torn between defeating the Black Sky and saving the woman that he loves.
It was a mistake not telling you guys about her. I realize that. I'm not.
The next time, you conveniently forget shit that affects the rest of us.
You're not exactly an open book yourself, Jessica.
What is that supposed
Well,
to
no
mean?
one's digging into your past. So.
My past is none of your goddamn business, and it's not actively trying to kill us.
The character that stands in the gray area between good and evil, as per usual, is Stick, played by the great Scott Glenn. Stick has been fighting the war against the Hand longer than most, and is willing to do whatever it takes to end the war and defeat the Hand. This, of course, is illustrated by the most blunt metaphor in the history of fiction, when he chops off his own hand to escape the Hand.
Don't you bet on it.
Wow. The MCU hasn't hit us with symbolism this hard since the womanizing Tony Stark was seen sitting inside a giant donut. I don't know why, but something tells me that Sigmund Freud would have loved this franchise. Anyway, let's talk about the crown jewel of the show, and what makes it truly worth watching, and that is the interactions between the Defenders. Obviously, this was the main attraction of this series, and the creators were fully aware of that, as we got lots and lots of great interactions between the main heroes, so they definitely delivered on the novelty of the crossover. Now just for a moment, I want all of you to consider the insanity of the creators of this franchise crafting 4 separate shows with 4 separate stars, then having those 4 shows cross over and somehow, someway, miraculously, those 4 stars have perfect chemistry with one another. That, my friends, is nothing short of a miracle.
What are you talking about? Bulletproof, blind ninja, whatever it is you are.
Classy.
Alright, let's address each individual hero, starting with
Iron Fist, played by Finn Jones.
Like I said, the main theme of this series is that of identity crisis, as we see each of the characters struggling to figure out who they are. In the case of Iron Fist, he needs to figure out his place in the world, now that he is a living weapon that no longer has a sacred city to protect. Symbolically illustrated by a slash that he is sporting over the Iron Fist crest on his chest at the beginning of the series. At first, he convinces himself that he is solely responsible for stopping the hand, but ultimately he finds out that there are better and more capable heroes that are on top of things, and that his impulsive, thoughtless actions just make things worse.
Because this one, the immortal Iron Fist living weapon and protector of the ancient city, is still a thundering dumbass.
While the Iron Fist solo series did a lot to damage the reputation of this character, I feel that this series did a lot to fix it. By showing that all the naive Danny Rand was missing was a little guidance by more experienced heroes. And it is heavily implied in the final episode that he is inspired by Daredevil to follow a little bit closer to his superhero comic book roots, by becoming a vigilante. Hell, he's even seen wearing an outfit that hugely resembles the type of tracksuits that he started wearing in the comics. There's just one thing missing. There, perfect. Seriously, he better wear the mask in Iron Fist Season 2.
But the time has to be right. Danny has to earn the right to wear the suit. I actually want the mask with the cool wispy ribbons at the back.
You just want the mask so you can stunt double can do more.
Yes, of course.
Everyone else already has a costume or a trademark look. Why not Danny? And I mean, Daredevil already inspired him to be a superhero. Why not draw inspiration from his fashion sense?
You look like an asshole.
Short scarf.
Luke Cage, played by Mike Coulter.
The hero for hire finds himself torn after getting out of prison and getting cleared of all charges. Now that he is a free man, he has to figure out what to do with that freedom. And even though he is advised by all the lovely ladies in his life to just lay low and stay out of trouble, Luke just can't turn down people in need. And of course, there is no such thing as a simple crime in the MCU. Luke's role in the series is a testament to the strength of his character, as he is a very grounded, logical man who doesn't believe in any of this mystical kung fu mumbo jumbo. But he knows that if he stays idle, people will get hurt. And while he might have unbreakable skin, he has a very soft heart, and he will not stand idly by while innocents suffer.
For whatever it's worth, I'm glad you're here.
What?
No, circumstances could be better, I'm just saying, you know. Glad we found each other. I'm not hugging you.
Jessica Jones, played by Kristen Ritter.
Jess is the most reluctant of the Defenders. After the Kilgrave incident, a lot of people started referring to her by a word that she's not very comfortable with.
Jessica, you are now a
Do not
full-blown
say
superhero.
the H word. I've got enough of a headache as it is.
Thus far, Jessica has operated under the belief that using her powers does more damage than good. Throughout this series, while she might be a snarky, critical, rude jerk,
Are you always this rude to people trying to help you?
she eventually sees that she is not the only one who has this dilemma, and that there are plenty of enhanced people who have no problem using their powers to cause damage on purpose. So she might as well as align herself with the misfits who are trying to stop them.
Who missed me?
So ultimately, she accepts her role as a hero that any common individual can call upon for help. And also, while all the interactions between the Defenders might be great, I think it is fair to say that out of all those interactions, all the best moments belong to Jessica Jones.
If they think Danny's a key, maybe whatever it is he unlocks is in that structure.
This is the dumbest.
Let's go, Ironclad.
It's Iron Fist.
I know.
Scarf looked better. Nice ears.
They're horns.
Daredevil, played by Charlie Cox.
Matt Murdock's identity crisis is obviously triggered by the death of Elektra at the end of Daredevil Season 2, which leads Matt to try and give up being Daredevil, which is not easy when you can hear every crime within a 10-block radius. Like the rest of the Defenders, he gets dragged into the war, which he openly tries to avoid. Of course, eventually he gets talked into joining back in. Ironically, by Jessica Jones of all people.
My name is Matthew.
In fact, their relationship is my absolute favorite in this series. How Matt inadvertently overcomplicates things while Jessica always has an easier solution. Like when Matt does a bunch of complicated parkour to get to the penthouse of Midland Circle, only to find that Jessica got there just as quickly by simply taking the elevator. Now that is funny. In the end, Matt figures out that while he was born Matt Murdock, Daredevil is who he was always meant to be.
So cool. I mean, it's kind of cool.
What's wrong, fellas? Experiencing a little Billy Club envy? And while we're on the subject of envy, Stanley cameos! There he is! Wait, hold on. I have to say, I am truly disappointed that Stan Lee never physically appeared in any of these shows. Especially after that awesome Comic-Con teaser that he did. Personally, I think the scene where the Defenders have to take the subway to go and save the day was the perfect opportunity to have Stan pop up and possibly comment on Jessica Jones's heavy drinking. Oh well, I guess we can categorize this as one of many missed opportunities. And while we're on the subject of highly desired cameos, no, I am in no way disappointed that Punisher didn't make an appearance either. This is a Defenders show, and his presence would have overshadowed the other characters. For now, I am more than happy to wait for his solo series to premiere later this year. So there you go. Alright Stan, say the thing.
Excelsior!
Fight scenes.
Now the street level heroes have a strong reputation for getting involved in some badass fight scenes. And while the fight scenes in this show might not have been as good as the ones in the Daredevil series, they were still really good. So much so that I couldn't pick just one to talk about. So these are my top 5 favorite fight scenes from the Defenders. Number 5, the devil is back in the kitchen. After spending half the series staying away from his superhero hope chest, the Hand makes the mistake of threatening the loved ones of the Defenders. So it's time for Matt to let the devil out.
No way.
Number 4, Cage vs. Fist. No superhero crossover is complete without the scene in which the heroes fight each other, due to some dumb misunderstanding. And while Luke and Danny might have fought twice throughout the course of the series, nothing compares to the first time their powers clashed. And it is awesome that the Defenders got their own hammer and shield moment. As well as a throwback to the Luke Cage series. Number 3, Heroes for Hire. The only thing better than heroes fighting each other is when they inevitably team up. And tell me, just try and tell me that the same thought didn't go through your head when you were watching this scene. Number 2, the 360-degree long take. The Avengers are known for the 360-degree shots. Daredevil is known for his fight sequences that consist of one continuous take with no visible cuts. The Defenders combined them both. But unlike the Avengers, the Defenders didn't need 20 layers of CG to achieve this sequence. And that is badass. And number 1, there was a hallway fight! It wouldn't be a Marvel Netflix show without the traditional hallway fight. And the Defenders didn't disappoint, as our heroes both meet and have their first fight scene as a team in a hallway. And be warned, as this scene may cause enough geekgasms to kill a baby elephant.
Marvel Netflix Phase 2.
As per usual, while we should just all be enjoying this great show, everybody's already spending a great deal of time and energy speculating about what's next. So, I might as well give my 2 cents on the matter. Now, all 4 of the solo shows have been renewed for one more season. Outside of that, very little details have been released about what will be the main storyline for any of those seasons, except for one. The final shot of Defenders blatantly recreates one of the panels from one of the most famous Daredevil comic book storylines, Born Again, in which the Kingpin systematically dismantles Matt Murdock's life after discovering his secret identity. This, of course, is supported by the fact that in Daredevil Season 2, it is implied that Kingpin is on the verge of figuring out Matt's true identity. Also, one of the major players in that storyline is Nuke, who was established in Jessica Jones. So yeah, all signs point to Born Again being adapted for Daredevil Season 3. Hopefully they will find a way to sneak in Bullseye into the season. But even if they don't, Born Again is still awesome. So much so that I highly recommend each and every one of you seek out and read the comic books before you watch Daredevil Season 3. That storyline is just that good. Anyway, let's finish this.
Final verdict.
This has been one hell of a journey following these characters through their individual series only to see them converge in one show. It was a huge undertaking, and while it might have been rough around the edges, I still feel that it was worth the wait. We got our fair share of fan service while not losing sight of these characters' blue-collar roots. So while this might not be the best Marvel Netflix show, it is most definitely the best 4-series crossover I have ever seen. Oh, you heard me right, DCW! And in the end, this show delivered in the area where it mattered the most. Great interactions between 4 great characters. 10 points on the badassitude meter! Order some Chinese food, invite over your super friends, and give it a watch. Until next time, I'm ERod, and I'm the Blockbuster Buster. And here's to hoping we see the Defenders cross over one more time in a future series.
Taser time! Tickle!
You're as alive as a daisy.